So really excited to have, and just thankful that they made the time to be here with us. I will leave it to our expert moderator for this panel, Jazz Tangcay from Variety, a senior editor at Variety. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Kota, and thank you to everybody today. I mean, how inspiring has it been, and educating, and we've learned so much. As Kota said, we have an incredible panel of creatives. They're making, they're blazing trails across America. Everybody with us, we have singer Jocelyn Enriquez. And lead designer at Barbie signature at Mattel, Carlisle Nuera. Makeup artist and social media influencer Patrick Starrr. And chef Andino. Let me tell you, you need to go and research every single, if you don't know what they do already, you need to go and research what they do, because they are seriously making marks in their respective fields. Patrick, and I've said this to you many times, your journey is so inspiring, especially your road to success. It's a result of your hard work, your determination and perseverance.
I recognize that we live in a democracy, and that's what it means to be Filipino American. So I was able to learn what it is to have digital democracy. You have to win people over. And I learned that from being in an organization in Orlando. I grew up in what was called the Bayanihan of Orlando. And so I learned what it means to be in traditional dances together, to cook together, to sing together, and really take that Bayanihan spirit online. So 11 years ago, I posted my first video because I didn't feel like I was accepted by naturally who I was, a gay, plus-size Filipino bald man. And I had an affinity for beauty, and it was makeup. But looking back at my 11 years, it was about what was not just on the outside, but what's on the inside. But over 11 years, I've been able to amass over 500 million views on my YouTube channel. To have Kim Kardashian ask me, can you do my makeup for YouTube? Naomi Campbell, Paris Hilton, Kris Jenner, Pia Wurtzbach, Katy Perry. I have the most celebrities out of any YouTuber on my channel. And what is amazing is that I'm able to leverage not just my digital equity that I've built in 10 years, but to build that commercial equity that means a lot to so many Filipinos and beyond. So what I've been able to do is practically is to take the idea of democracy and the Bayanihan spirit and apply it to my ideology of what it means to be a multimedia mogul. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, Facebook, and everything. And so Facebook, add me, so we're able to kind of build that digital equity and take it and continue. And I'm sure we're able to connect online, and that is so powerful. And that's how I was so fortunate to come here. It's because of my online presence. And so if anybody wants to share their voice, just know that you have the power to vote for what you believe in through the Bayanihan spirit, online, share, connect, and you can make a change. And I have a company now called One Size Beauty. That's the #1 fastest growing makeup brand in Sephora in North America. That holds the #1 waterproof setting spray that Beyonce wears, Ariana Grande wears. I sell one spray every 8 seconds. But it's not just about a setting spray. It's about creating a difference through what you believe in beauty. And beauty is for everyone, not just on the outside, but on the inside. So post your freaking post online, okay?
You just sold 2 sprays in that response right there. But what is that like for you, just quickly, walking into Sephora and seeing, people, every time I go in there, your section is completely surrounded and you see people buying things. What is that like for you to see and to hear these stories and see those videos?
It's crazy because my parents didn't understand it. I was supposed to be a nurse. Pero gusto ko ng makeup. Gastos, sayang. So I learned a lot about what it means to really own your identity. But if you go into any Sephora here in DC or all over the US, my face will be front and center for the month of October. Patrick Starrr, the fastest growing, the only Filipino brand in Sephora. So support your Filipino. But what that that means to us is that I'm not just representing my face, but for that younger Filipino, for the people that were pigeonholed to be a nurse, to do things that was premeditated for them and written in the stars, because we came in out of fear. And so I do it for my parents. My parents are here in DC today, and for them to see me here speaking to all of you is a huge honor. I'm first generation here, but in more ways than one, I'm nursing in a different way, and that means so much to me.
What would you say is your or the Filipino American community's superpower?
I would have to say resilience, because it is not allowing our obstacles or difficulties define us, but empower us to encourage one another and to keep going and growing.
Love that. And Carlisle, what about you?
I would say it's community. It's this right here, right? And I think it's, I'm here because of Janelle So. She interviewed me years ago and we kept in contact. We see each other in LA all the time, and it's that community, like, you put each other on, you hype each other up, you support each other. You say, like, I think you would be great to volunteer at my event, can you help? And I think you would be great for this. So it's just knowing each other and giving each other opportunities.
Well, thank you for being here, and I'm really honored to be here because I started online and I had to escape and pretty much immigrate my identity to being online and to cultivate the spirit that I learned from my Filipino culture, to build digital equity of what it means to be myself. We all have an intuition on what it means to be who we are as Filipinos, but in a way I was able to illustrate this character that is known today on the internet as Patrick Starrr, this gay, flamboyant makeup artist to millions of people over the last 11 years that I've been online, and I think that's because of the Filipino spirit that I've been able to bring.
I would say the Filipino superpower that I have, that we all have, that everyone in this room has, is I like to call it a light. When a Filipino enters your life, regardless of what occupation or what scenario that you meet a Filipino, everyone remembers that person. They remember the positivity, they remember an impact, and they strike a chord, a visceral chord within every single person. And every Filipino has done that to me, and my goal is to do that to anyone that comes into my orbit. And so I think if we all have a superpower here, it's that we bring a light to every room and relationship and interaction that we come across.
These answers, speaking about, bringing lights into a room, Jordan, you recently delivered a lecture at Cornell University in Ithaca, which is, and I think it's been, 20 years since you were a freshman there? Or so?
Wow, yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to.
It doesn't feel like that.
Wait, no, whenever. It's been a long time. In thinking about your journey, though, to a chef, how do you see your food shaping how our community is experienced as part of the American culinary story?
Well, I think just my upbringing and how I've met so many Filipinos in this room and in my life has been through food. It's been at gatherings, it's been at dinners, and it's been at events where food at times is the center of the focus and subject in which I'm meeting them, or otherwise it's an ancillary product. But nonetheless, food is what brings us together. Everyone here resonates with food, and everyone here has an interpretation of adobo. Everyone here has an interpretation of kare-kare or sinigang, and to me, that's how I've learned how to honestly be more Filipino and be more proud about my heritage. Because as someone who A, is not born here, B, is also not born in the Philippines, food was my way of understanding more about how I have come to be and how my family and the struggles and fights that they've had and how all of that has landed us to where we are now. And through that, food is my vessel to how I speak. Food is how I show love to the people around me, but also food is how I learn about the Filipino culture and community. And that's why I've made it my life goal to, yes, bring Filipino food to the Western masses, as my first restaurant, Flip Ziggy, that I've had for a decade now has come to be. But it's also a way that I believe we can all connect, and it's a way that Tita Loida and I first met, and because I catered for you, and I'm just so grateful to be in this position and to be asked to be here in the White House as a technically non-Filipino and non-American, but it's yet I'm here, and I'm here because the light that we have has brought us here, and also because food, inevitably everyone loves, and hopefully I make good food at that time.
Yes.
In anything that I do as an artist and designer, I come into it with my full identities. All the identities that I see myself as, right? And when I think about my family's history, how they came here, my parents immigrated in the 80s, and I was the only sibling born here, right? So my mom would always joke, you could be president one day. I became a Barbie designer instead, but I made it to the White House. But I think about all my family and like all the clans that I, descend from, the Pachos, the Buenconsejos, Nueras, the Tates, the Francos, and I think about all of that, when I design a Barbie. And, in my career, I've been lucky enough to design 2 Filipino Barbies. So the first one that came out, I have them here with me too. I was the dork that brought my Barbies to the White House. Okay, thank you, Patrick. So this is the first one. That's the first one. She came out in 2015, and she's called Mutia Barbie. And in a lot of ways, that Barbie changed the trajectory of my career, because it was then that I realized the power that I have as a designer, the power that I have to represent, and the power that I have, for other people to see that doll, and also to see me, kind of what Patrick was saying, okay, we put our faces out there, we're visible, but it's so that other people can see this is something that you can do, right? So that parents can see, you don't have to go through all the traditional ways of a career. If you support your kids in the arts, in makeup, if you let your little, bakla bunso play with makeup or Barbies, look what can happen, right? And specifically the Filipino Barbie too, Mutia Barbie over there was inspired by my mom, Ruby Nuera, so she's from Tacloban in Leyte, and when she was a young woman, she was in beauty pageants. So she was Miss Tacloban in 76. And so I had these vintage photos of her that I always looked at as a kid, and it's her on the podium with a terno, answering questions, being crowned, and that's always been something that's in my, mental mood board ever since I was a kid, and something that was expressed through this doll. And I was lucky enough to get an opportunity to design a second Filipino Barbie, which is so she's available now on MattelCreations.com. Not to plug product, but go ahead. Already ordered. But this Barbie is in a series called Style by Design, and each Barbie is designed by a different Mattel Barbie designer. And we have the freedom to choose our own direction, our own aesthetic, everything. So this is the second doll in the series, and of course I had to take her to the Philippines. And I think if you look at both dolls side by side, I kind of consider her the little sister to Mutia Barbie. They both have the same bracelet too. If you look closely, I put the same bracelet on both of them. But also it shows how I've grown in my Filipino identity and what I want to express and what I want to put out there, and the different Philippine aesthetics and things that I want to mix and do my own creative spin. I wanted to have a mix of indigenous aesthetics to represent as much as possible and have all these touch points that someone can recognize. Her shoes are a take on Bakia, so there's the Bahay Kubo at the back, and then the front is a relief of the Chocolate Hills in Bohol, where my dad is from. So all these things that, the tattoos are inspired by the Boxer Codex, and obviously Wang Od, all of these different inspirations and things that I've known my whole life kind of coming together and being expressed here. And that's how I think of creativity too, taking disparate elements and putting them together into something new.
When we ask the question, what does it mean to be Filipino? Most people say, I'm proud to be Filipino, but what else does being Filipino mean to you, and how do you use your trailblazing career to make sure that our stories are heard?
That's a pretty loaded question, because honestly, if you look on the panel, I am probably the oldest here. So, it's crazy because 30 years ago, I was a girl that graduated from Pinole Valley High School and wanted to pursue a music career. And 30 years later, I am here in the presence of beautiful, intelligent, powerful, influential people. And I'm just in awe because I have my mayor in San Antonio, Daly City where I used to live, and Pinole Valley High School. So I'm just in awe. But for me, what does it mean to be proud? It really is just being proud of who we are in our skin and not allowing people to define us, really. We all have a platform, we heard that. We all have a calling in our lives, whatever it may be, but we just have to continue to run with it. I was very, very fortunate to have parents that loved me enough to support me in the desire of becoming a musician. They, of course, they wanted us to live the nursing life, but I'm nursing in a different way. I love that. I'm gonna take that from you. Take it. So it's just, again, just telling my story and having platforms like Juan's, coming and just being present and just telling our story. And again, also recognizing that it was a collaborative effort. You guys were the ones that asked the radio station to play my music. You were the ones that went and paid for my CDs. So thank you. Thank you very much. Love that.
What legacy do you hope to leave?
Well, now that I am a grandmother, my grandbaby is 1/4 mestiza. So, I mean, having these platforms, my legacy is that grandma ended better than she started. So I don't know what that looks like. We're still writing the story. We're all writing it together. But I want her to know that grandma ended better than she started.
Beautiful, beautiful. Jordan, I'm gonna come to you. What about you? What legacy do you hope to impart?
Well, I used to want to be the first Filipino with a Michelin star in Filipino cuisine. Slightly bittersweet because I'm competitive. There was an amazing restaurant in Chicago, Kasama, that got that distinction. Yes, give it up for Kasama. And really what that did was, I celebrated, I was very happy about it. But it also made me kind of reassess what my goal is and what I want my legacy to be. And because of that, I've pivoted. I still want to attain that goal. But I've pivoted because now what I want, now that I have a daughter, she's almost 2 years old, I want to leave my legacy. I want it to be something where something she can be proud of. And I believe what that is going to be is an organization, which I'll just slightly tease. The organization is something that I want to create with Filipinos in this room and all around the country and the world, as a matter of fact, that will uplift and benefit us in every single way and give back to the community and give back to people who've given to me. So if there's a legacy that I want to leave, it's this, we'll call it, organization that I've been working on with a group of us for about a year now. And the hope is that we take all of our resources and all of our network and bring that together under one cohesive umbrella to uplift, give back, recognize, donate, and empower the Filipino community.
Patrick, what about you? In a sentence or two.
I think in a simple sentence, the legacy that I want to leave is admission to truth and joy. Because, growing up in a construct and growing up to be compliant to identity is very, very the opposite of what that means. And I look to Mickey Mouse as a big inspiration. And Walt Disney was the voice of Mickey Mouse. And so I think of Patrick Simondak, the Filipino boy, was able to illustrate this version of Mickey Mouse that people know today as Patrick Starrr. So admission to truth and joy, find your Mickey Mouse and protect it. Protect the illustration that you want to leave in this world. Whether you're a nurse, a singer, a designer, a chef, an entrepreneur, you should be able to give yourself permission and admission to own that and walk in those steps and leave that legacy.
All right, Carlisle, take it home in a sentence or two.
So I think, okay, I'm gonna start small and then go big. So I think my legacy as a Barbie designer is obviously to, showcase the beauty of Filipino culture. And these Barbies are some of the first times someone has, interacted, seen Filipino culture, right? And it's through such a global American icon, right? So that's the legacy that I want to leave within the Barbie collecting community. And bigger than that too, as an artist and designer, and I choose to be visible on social media and people to contact me, and that's because I want parents and kids who are Filipino artists and designers to be able to see, someone else doing it, right? And someone else doing it well and succeeding. Because, I think you can't complain about not seeing representation if you don't support the talent that you see in these young kids. So, if you want another Easter Sunday, if you want another Jocelyn Enriquez, then support your kids who are doing those kinds of things.
So incredible, so inspiring, and thank you all for sharing insight into your world and all you do. And thank you again to Kota and to everybody for such an incredible, inspiring, educating day. And thank you to everybody.